Are religion and science reluctant to inhabit the same planet? Many Jews imagine the Torah peering down from the detached heights of Sinai with an almighty frown as frantic scientists in white coats scurry across God's earth with thermometers and anemometers and other tools of utter apostasy. The real deal, however, is that the Torah has always supported scientific inquiry and findings. Through the 3.5 millennia since Moses, and today more than ever, the Torah expects rabbis to keep a microscope and stethoscope within easy reach, or to at least have someone reliable with the latest scientific knowledge to consult in order to make valid Torah decisions. Rabbi Beryl Bell is a Dayan, or Torah justice, at the Rabbinical Court of Montreal. He is also a Yale University graduate. Here, Rabbi Bell discusses some of the myriad instances in which scientific knowledge is considered critical to determining Jewish law.
There's a famous institute for the study of Jewish law and contemporary technology in Israel, which is one of the most advanced in the world. Among the many important works that they have written is a whole book regarding an elevator that is constructed specifically for use on the Sabbath. And in their investigation of the situation, they found that some elevators that were thought to be okay to be used on the Sabbath were actually constructed in such a way exactly the opposite of the way they were supposed to be constructed. So one might think that you have an elevator and more people going in the elevator, in order to get that elevator up, the additional people going in the elevator causes more energy to be expended. However, when the elevator is coming down, so then the people are adding more weight and one would need to use less energy. So one might think that going down in an elevator is not so much of a problem. There might be other problems involved in pressing the buttons on the floor, but in terms of the additional energy being expended on the way down, it would not be important. But on going up, additional energy would need to be expended. However, in actuality, that's not the way the elevators were constructed. The elevators were constructed with a counterweight, and that's why there's a maximum capacity for an elevator. In order to lift up the actual car, where the room where the people are sitting, one lets go of the brake on the counterweight, and as the counterweight goes down, the elevator goes up. The problem is, in order to get the elevator down, you have to expend energy to lift up the counterweight. So it's the other way around, and that's what needs to be regulated. Therefore, whether it's elevators that are meant to be used on the Sabbath or other sorts of appliances or various devices that are designed for use of the Sabbath, they have to have proper rabbinic supervision, such as from Rabbi Halpern's Institute, that have electricians and engineers and various scientists on board to ensure that not only Jewish law is being interpreted properly, but the actual facts on the ground are properly understood in order that the decision of Jewish law is in accordance with the actual facts on the ground.
Today, Torah and science march happily hand in hand in a wide variety of issues. Some are rather rudimentary, such as the seemingly innocuous question of how to boil water.
It was a case where the supervisor who was responsible for overseeing the kosherization of the equipment, who knew that the water has to get up to the temperature of boiling, which is 212 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius, and was having problems. No matter what they did to the equipment, it couldn't get up to the proper temperature. And when he called back the office, we told him, well, what altitude are you at? And we found out the exact location. We're able to check out the altitude, and it turns out it was high enough that it was physically impossible for the water to get to the proper temperature that would be possible to attain at sea level, because the water would boil out at a lower temperature. So although it's elementary scientific knowledge that the boiling point changes in altitude, nevertheless it was knowledge of this that enabled us to declare this product kosher.
Other cases, however, involve the very latest that technology has to offer.
Eggs today, where they're raising the eggs to turn into chicks, which are eventually going to turn into chickens, are vaccinated in a method that's called in ovo, meaning when the chick is still within the egg, there's a very, very thin needle which is used to penetrate the egg and put the vaccine into the sac of the egg. the liquid of the egg. And one must be careful not to go so far as to penetrate the internal organs of the chick, which could render it not kosher. And this is something which requires knowledge of exactly how it is and at what stage of development and in which manner this is being done in order to ensure that its kosher status is being preserved.
More than at any previous era in history, rabbinical experts communicate and collaborate with experts in the broadest spectrum of scientific fields, from space travel to oven designs, from medical breakthroughs to the newest construction techniques. As modern science expands rapidly in all directions, it produces countless innovations in the application of timeless Jewish law.